You ever have a season in your life where nothing seems to make sense, where you're doing all the right things, saying all the right prayers, making all the right moves, and yet somehow you feel like you're running in circles? That season, though painful, isn't wasted. That season is a setup. That pain that didn't add up before, it's about to show its purpose. I know it doesn't feel like it right now. Right now, it feels like confusion, like frustration, like your life is a puzzle with missing pieces. You've been asking, why is this taking so long? Why can't I see the plan? And I want you to know that God isn't ignoring your questions. In fact, He's answering them quietly in ways you cannot yet measure. Think about every time you felt overlooked, underestimated, or even dismissed. Every moment you were told a not yet, or a not enough, or a this isn't for you. All those moments, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the confusion, they weren't random. They were the forge, they were the classroom, they were the training ground, because God doesn't waste pain. Every tear, every season of waiting, He's using it to prepare you for a purpose so much bigger than what you can see right now. Have you ever noticed that sometimes we don't understand our purpose until we've been through the fire? That what feels like chaos is actually calibration. What feels like a detour is actually divine direction. What confused you, what left you wondering if you're on the right path, is about to confirm your calling. That question mark over your life isn't a mistake, it's a promise. I want to tell you something important. God is never early, and He's never late. He's never surprised, and He's never unprepared. Every step you've taken, every failure you've endured, every door that closed, those were all aligning to get you exactly where you need to be. The pain that didn't add up before is now becoming the proof. The experiences that left you shaking your head in confusion will soon make you shake your head in awe. You're going to look back and see that the very thing that hurt you the most is the very thing that helped you grow the most. This is a season of confirmation. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to understand the whole picture. You just have to keep stepping forward in faith. Keep showing up. Keep walking through the doors that are open. Keep trusting the process. Because what was confusing before is about to become clear. What felt pointless before is about to prove powerful. And what left you asking a why me is about to become the reason you'll say a thank you. Some of you have been carrying burdens for years Birdie would never release. But in the perfect timing of God, those burdens will turn into breakthroughs. Those seasons of silence will turn into songs of victory. That confusion, that uncertainty, that disappointment, they're not your destination. They're the bridge to your calling. So when you feel like giving up, when you feel like walking away, remember this. The very thing that didn't make sense yesterday is the same thing that will make your purpose undeniable tomorrow. What confused you is about to confirm you. What hurt you is about to help you. And what you thought was wasted is about to be your witness. You're standing on the edge of something greater than your pain. You're on the brink of understanding why you were never supposed to skip a single season, why you were never supposed to take an easier road. Every trial, every tear, every moment of confusion, it's all lining up to reveal the destiny that's been waiting for you all along. So hold on. Don't give up. Don't try to force the timing. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Keep walking. Because the pain that didn't add up before is about to show its purpose. And what confused you will soon confirm your calling. The pain that felt meaningless is actually preparation for your purpose. Too often we walk through life thinking that the difficulties we encounter are random, that the hardships, the failures, the disappointments are just mistakes, oversights, or bad luck. We try to make sense of it by looking for shortcuts, by asking a why me, or what did I do wrong? But the truth is, nothing you have experienced has been wasted. Nothing you have endured has been meaningless. Even the moments when you felt broken beyond repair, when the weight of life seemed unbearable, those are the very moments that are shaping you for a greater purpose than you can yet understand. Every tear you've shed, every sleepless night, every time you felt unseen or unheard, every moment you questioned your worth, they were all shaping a resilience inside you that cannot be taught, that cannot be rushed, that can only be formed through experience. Pain has a way of stripping us down, of removing the distractions, of forcing us to face our own vulnerability. And in that vulnerability, something powerful is happening. It is in the pressure of life and the friction of struggle that our character is being molded. Pain is the refining fire that removes the impurities of self-doubt, pride, and fear, preparing you to walk in alignment with your true calling. You see, purpose isn't always revealed in comfort. Comfort rarely teaches us patience. Comfort rarely teaches us strength. Comfort rarely pushes us to rely on something bigger than ourselves. But pain has a language all its own. Pain speaks in persistence and endurance, in lessons that are only visible in hindsight. Pain teaches us to pray when it feels impossible, to hope when hope seems gone, to believe when belief seems foolish. It forces us to look beyond what we can see, to trust a process that we cannot yet comprehend. That's why every difficult season you've walked through, every time you felt knocked down, overlooked, or underestimated, was actually preparation for the purpose that's waiting for you. Your pain has not been in vain. The late nights, the unanswered questions, the confusion, the isolation, they are not indicators of failure. They are the indicators of preparation. They are evidence that you are being equipped for something far greater than you imagine. Many of us wish our paths could be smooth. Many of us wish that purpose would come wrapped in clarity and ease. But life doesn't work that way. Life works in seasons, in layers, in experiences that challenge you and expand you simultaneously. The pain you felt, the struggles that seem senseless, were all part of a design that is larger than your current understanding. There is a reason for every closed door, every missed opportunity, every heartbreak, every disappointment. Each of those moments is training you to step into a life of meaning, to embrace a calling that requires more than natural talent, more than surface level readiness, more than a wish or a hope. It requires endurance. It requires faith. It requires having walked through the fire and come out stronger, wiser, and more compassionate on the other side. And even when it doesn't feel like preparation, even when it feels like chaos, even when you feel like giving up, that is exactly the point where the preparation is at its peak. Because purpose isn't something that can be rushed. Purpose isn't something you can force or manufacture. Purpose requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace the process, even when the process doesn't make sense. What once seemed meaningless will suddenly have meaning. What once felt like a detour will suddenly feel like a necessary path. What once felt like a wound will suddenly feel like a well of strength you can draw from. Your pain is not the absence of purpose. It is the proving ground for purpose. And in those moments when you are tempted to believe that your struggles are pointless, when you feel like the world is against you, when the silence seems deafening, remember that this is exactly where purpose is being formed inside of you. You are being prepared to step into a calling that only someone who has endured, only someone who has wrestled with uncertainty, only someone who has faced challenges head-on could walk into. Your pain is evidence, your endurance is proof, and your continued faith is the guarantee that the preparation will not be wasted. It is in these moments, the ones that feel the hardest, that the seeds of purpose are planted. And sometimes it is only after the storm, only after the struggle, only after the season of confusion and difficulty that the purpose becomes visible. Until then, it is growing inside of you, shaping you, molding you, strengthening you, and equipping you for what is to come. It is teaching you lessons that cannot be learned any other way. It is building resilience, character, courage, and insight. It is transforming your pain into perspective, your struggle into strategy, your heartbreak into a testimony, and your waiting into wisdom. The very things you thought were holding you back are actually setting you up. The very experiences that seem meaningless are actually the groundwork for your purpose. Every setback, every rejection, every moment of confusion, every time you felt lost or alone, all of it has been preparation. It has been a preparation that you may not have understood at the time, that you may have questioned, that you may have resisted, but it has been preparation nonetheless. Your purpose is being unveiled through the pain, being clarified through the confusion, and being strengthened through the struggle. Every hardship, every obstacle, every moment of despair has a reason. You are not walking through life by accident. You are being formed, refined, and prepared for a purpose that is greater than anything you could have imagined. And it is this very pain, this very struggle that will ultimately reveal the power, the calling, and the destiny within you. Seasons of confusion are the bridge to clarity and calling. There are times in life when everything seems uncertain, when you are standing at a crossroads and every path looks blurry and every decision feels like a gamble. In those moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, to feel lost, to question whether you are on the right track at all. But confusion, as unsettling as it may feel, is not a sign that you are failing. Confusion is often a sign that you are on the verge of understanding something profound. It is the bridge that connects the struggles of today with the clarity of tomorrow. Think about the times in your life when you didn't understand why something was happening. Perhaps you lost a job you thought was secure. Maybe a relationship ended unexpectedly. Or a dream you had been chasing seemed to slip through your fingers. In the moment, confusion dominates your mind. You replay events over and over, trying to make sense of them, trying to find a reason, trying to find a pattern. And yet, despite all your analysis and effort, clarity doesn't come. That is because some clarity cannot be rushed. Some understanding can only be gained through the passage of time, through endurance, and through reflection. Confusion is not the absence of direction. It is the preparation for a revelation. It is the pause before the breakthrough, the quiet before the confirmation. When life feels chaotic and your mind is full of questions, it is often because you are standing on the edge of something greater than you can yet see. The bridge between what you cannot see and what you are meant to step into is built from the very confusion that feels uncomfortable now. Many people fear confusion. They treat it like an enemy, something to be avoided at all costs. They search for instant answers, quick fixes, or immediate results. But God, or the natural rhythm of life, is not in a hurry to give the answers until the preparation is complete. There is wisdom in waiting. There is strength in the uncertainty. There is growth in the not knowing. Confusion forces you to rely on more than what you see, to trust more than what you understand, to believe in the unseen process that is quietly working on your behalf. When you are in the middle of confusion, your natural instincts may tempt you to take shortcuts, to settle for what is easy, to give up on the dream that feels just out of reach. But if you resist those impulses despite the uncertainty, you are allowing the bridge to form. You are giving the universe, or God, or life itself, the opportunity to align circumstances, to guide steps, and to prepare the confirmation that is coming. It is often after the season of confusion that the calling becomes undeniable. The path that seemed unclear suddenly becomes obvious. The choices that were once overwhelming suddenly feel aligned. The direction that once caused anxiety suddenly becomes affirmation. Your calling, which may have seemed like a distant dream, becomes a living reality because you have crossed the bridge that confusion has been building in your life. Confusion then is not a punishment, it is a process. It is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of formation. It is not the end of the journey, it is the preparation for the beginning of the next chapter. Every moment of uncertainty is shaping your discernment, refining your patience, and clarifying your priorities. Every question you ask, every doubt you wrestle with, every frustration you endure is part of the bridge that leads to understanding. It is often the most difficult moments, the moments when you feel like giving up, when you feel like you cannot see the way forward, that are the exact moments required for clarity to emerge. Clarity does not come from ease. It comes from endurance, from perseverance, from staying in the moment even when the moment is uncomfortable, from walking through the fog of uncertainty until the path ahead begins to reveal itself. The confusion that feels heavy and suffocating today is actually shaping your discernment. It is teaching you to listen carefully, to observe keenly, to make decisions with wisdom rather than impulse. It is preparing you to recognize your purpose when it finally comes into focus. And the amazing part is that when clarity does arrive, it will make perfect sense in hindsight. You will look back and realize that every confusing twist and turn, every moment of doubt and hesitation was necessary. It was necessary to build your understanding, your perspective, and your readiness. The bridge of confusion has been supporting you all along, even when you couldn't see it, even when it felt like it might collapse under your weight. And as you continue to walk that bridge, as you continue to endure the discomfort and embrace the uncertainty, you are moving closer and closer to the confirmation of your calling. You are stepping into a life that will not only make sense of your struggles, but also honor your endurance. You are moving toward a reality where what once confused you will now clarify your purpose. You are crossing a bridge that will turn your questions into answers, your doubts into confidence, and your uncertainty into assurance. You are learning that confusion is not your enemy. It is the mechanism through which clarity and calling are delivered. It is the necessary tension between what is and what will be. The space between yesterday's questions and tomorrow's answers. The preparation that transforms your waiting into readiness, your wandering into direction, and your uncertainty into unshakable clarity. While setbacks and delays are divine calibration, not denial, life has a way of testing our patience, of stretching our faith, and of challenging our resolve. There are moments when you feel like you've done everything right, like you've given your best effort, and yet the results you hoped for do not come. Maybe you prayed, worked, and waited, only to find that the doors you expected to open remained firmly closed. You start to wonder if the universe or God has forgotten you, or if perhaps you are not meant to succeed. But here's the truth. Setbacks and delays are not signs of abandonment. They're signs of preparation. They are moments of divine calibration designed to align your life, your heart, and your circumstances with the purpose that is waiting for you. When you experience delays, it is not because you are behind or because you are failing. It is because the timing has not yet aligned, the foundation has not yet been strengthened, or the lessons necessary for success have not yet been fully learned. Setbacks are often the universe's way of adjusting your course, redirecting your steps, and shaping your character to match the calling you are about to receive. Think of it like this. If a musician is going to perform on the world stage, they must first practice scales, rehearse pieces repeatedly, and refine their technique. They cannot skip the preparation and expect perfection. Similarly, life often requires you to go through setbacks and delays to develop the resilience, patience, and insight required to handle the responsibility of your calling. Every delay is a lesson in endurance. Every setback is an opportunity to grow. Every moment things don't go according to your plan is a chance to trust in a plan larger than your own understanding. It is easy to become discouraged when we face delays. We look at others who seem to be moving effortlessly, achieving quickly, and reaching milestones while we are still waiting. But comparison steals joy and clouds understanding. Your timeline is not someone else's timeline. Your journey is uniquely yours. Setbacks and delays ensure that when your breakthrough comes, you are ready, equipped, and able to handle it with wisdom and integrity. They teach you humility, patience, and perseverance. They force you to rely on your inner strength and on the guidance of something greater than yourself. When you start to see delays as calibration rather than denial, your perspective shifts. You begin to see every challenge as a teacher, every obstacle as a stepping stone, and every moment of waiting as preparation for the moment of purpose that is coming. Consider the seasons of your life that have felt stagnant or unproductive. Those are often the periods where the most critical calibration is taking place. Skills are being sharpened, character is being tested, and understanding is being deepened. The frustration you feel is not without purpose. The waiting you endure is not without meaning. Even when the path is unclear, even when the results seem distant, the process is shaping you into the person you need to be for the purpose you are about to fulfill. Setbacks also teach resilience, which is one of the most important qualities for anyone stepping into a meaningful calling. Resilience is developed not when everything goes according to plan, but when you face disappointment, adjust, and keep moving forward despite the challenges. Every time you rise after a setback, every time you continue in faith after a delay, you are strengthening your ability to endure greater responsibilities, to navigate larger opportunities, and to fulfill your purpose with courage and clarity. Delays are also divine timing in action. What may seem like a missed opportunity could actually be a door held closed because something better is waiting. Sometimes a delay prevents us from stepping into something prematurely, which could have led to failure or heartache. Other times it positions us perfectly for the moment we are meant to step into, allowing our breakthrough to be fully experienced, fully appreciated, and fully aligned with our purpose. In essence, setbacks and delays are recalibration, realignment, and refinement all rolled into one. They force you to slow down, to assess, to learn, and to grow. They remind you that speed is not the measure of success and that timing is more critical than force. They ensure that when the doors do open, when the breakthrough does come, when the moment of purpose arrives, you are ready to receive it with both humility and strength. And while it may feel like rejection, while it may feel like failure, while it may feel like waiting for longer than you can bear, remember that this is all part of the process. The delays are shaping your character. The setbacks are building your endurance. The waiting is refining your readiness. Nothing you are experiencing is random. Nothing you are enduring is meaningless. It is all part of a greater design, a divine calibration that ensures that your purpose is not only fulfilled, but fulfilled in the right time, in the right way, and with the right impact. Setbacks and delays are not punishments, and they are not denials. They are the moments where your faith is strengthened, your vision is clarified, and your calling is prepared. They are part of the invisible work happening behind the scenes. The work that ensures that when your moment arrives, you are fully prepared to step into it with confidence, strength, and clarity. Every obstacle you face, every delay you endure, every setback you encounter is a part of the blueprint for your purpose, ensuring that when your breakthrough comes, it will not only meet your expectations, it will exceed them, and it will confirm that every moment of waiting, every challenge, and every moment of doubt was actually part of a much larger, divinely orchestrated plan. What hurts you the most will become your strongest testimony. Pain is universal. Every human being will face seasons of disappointment, heartbreak, betrayal, and struggle. And while we all wish life were easier, the reality is that the very things that hurt us often shape us the most. When we go through experiences that leave scars, when we face losses that seem insurmountable, when we are betrayed by those we trusted, it feels like the world is conspiring against us. But it is in those moments that the foundation of our testimony is being laid. Every tear you have cried, every night you spent wrestling with questions and doubts, every time you felt like you could not go on is being transformed into a source of power, strength, and inspiration. The pain you have endured is not wasted. It is not meaningless. It is preparing you to become a beacon for others who will one day walk through similar challenges. A testimony is not simply a story of success. A testimony is the journey from brokenness to breakthrough, from despair to hope, from confusion to clarity. And the raw material for that testimony is often found in the moments that hurt the most. It is those very experiences that allow you to empathize with others, to speak with authenticity, and to lead with authority. What hurt you most teaches you lessons that nothing else can. It shows you the depth of your own resilience. It reveals your capacity to endure, to persevere, and to rise again when you thought you had reached your limit. It also provides perspective. When you have been through pain, you develop the ability to recognize it in others. You learn compassion, patience, and understanding. You learn how to comfort, encourage, and uplift because you have experienced the weight of life yourself. Your testimony becomes a bridge for others, a connection that validates their struggles and shows them that there is a way through, that there is hope, and that pain does not have the final say. Often the moments that hurt us most feel like they will break us. We feel isolated, abandoned, or unworthy. We question our strength, our purpose, and our worth. But those very moments are what give your testimony its power. Because when you can say, I endured, I overcame, I pressed through, your words carry weight, your story resonates, your journey inspires. And the pain that once threatened to define you instead becomes the proof that you are not defined by your circumstances, but by your response to them. Many people try to avoid pain, to run from it, or deny. But true transformation comes when you face your pain, acknowledge it, and allow it to shape you into a stronger, wiser, and more compassionate Avoidance delays the power of your testimony. Confrontation allows it to emerge. Every wound, every loss, every disappointment carries a message, a lesson, and a potential for impact that you may not recognize in the moment. The moments that hurt the most are also the moments that will later resonate with others who are walking through similar valleys. Your struggles are not only for you, they are for the people who will one day hear your story and find hope in your survival. Pain equips you to connect on a level that joy alone cannot. It allows you to speak with authenticity, without pretense, without hollow encouragement. When someone who is hurting hears that you have been there too, and that you survived, that you overcame, that you thrived despite the odds, it gives them courage to keep moving forward. Your testimony becomes a living example that pain is not permanent, that struggles are not the end, and that the very things that hurt us can ultimately serve a greater purpose. It is important to remember that this process takes time. Your testimony is not always immediate. Sometimes it is only in retrospect that you see the full impact of what you endured. What felt unbearable at the moment becomes the foundation for wisdom, understanding, and leadership. What seemed like the darkest night becomes the backdrop against which your triumph shines brightest. And the more intense the pain, the more powerful the testimony. Those moments that feel like they will never end, those experiences that shake you to your core, those losses that feel devastating, they are often the very things that, when transformed, carry the greatest influence and inspire the deepest hope in others. Your testimony is not just a story of survival. It is a story of transformation. It is a story that validates struggle, honors endurance, and celebrates resilience. It is the evidence that even in the midst of suffering, there is a path forward. It is the proof that what was meant to hurt you cannot hold you down, and what seemed like a setback can become a setup for a greater purpose. What hurt you most is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your witness. And when you allow your journey to be shared, when you embrace the lessons learned, when you speak openly about your pain and the growth it produced, you create a ripple effect that goes far beyond your own life. It touches hearts, inspires hope, and affirms to others that they too can rise. The very thing that once wounded you, the very thing that made you feel broken or defeated, is being transformed into something beautiful, something meaningful, something that will resonate with countless others. Your strongest testimony is hidden in the depth of your hurt, waiting for the moment when you step into your calling and allow your story to be a light for those still walking through darkness. The pain you have endured is preparing you to speak, lead, and influence in ways that would not have been possible without having faced the struggles that once seemed insurmountable. Holding on in faith transforms unanswered questions into undeniable confirmation. There are seasons in life when you feel like nothing is happening, when your prayers seem to vanish into the air, when the doors you expected to open remain closed, and every plan you made appears to be delayed. In these moments, doubt creeps in, fear whispers, and you question whether your efforts are in vain. But it is precisely in these moments that faith becomes your lifeline, your anchor, and your guiding force. Faith is not merely believing when it is easy. Faith is holding on when every visible sign suggests letting go. It is pressing forward when all your senses scream to stop. It is trusting the unseen when the world around you offers no assurance. When you hold on in faith, you align yourself with a power greater than circumstance, a wisdom greater than your understanding, and a timing that surpasses your schedule. Unanswered questions are not necessarily dead ends. They are invitations to deepen your trust, to grow in patience, and to develop resilience that will sustain you for the journey ahead. The tension between what you hope for and what you see is where faith is forged. The longer you hold on, the more the answers take shape and the more the path becomes clear. The key is persistence, continuing to act, continue to pray, continue to pursue, even when the evidence seems absent. This is where transformation occurs. What once seemed like doubt transforms into conviction. What once seemed like stagnation transforms into momentum. And what once seemed like silence transforms into undeniable confirmation of purpose, direction, and calling. Many people give up too early. They walk away from doors that have yet to open. They abandon dreams that are not yet ready to manifest. They surrender when waiting is the exact requirement for breakthrough. Holding on in faith is different because it refuses to rely on the immediate, the obvious, or the convenient. It chooses to trust in what is unseen, to depend on what is eternal, and to move forward even when certainty is absent. Every unanswered question, every moment of waiting, every delay becomes an opportunity to strengthen your faith, to clarify your vision, and to prepare for the confirmation that is coming. Faith is not passive, it is active endurance. It is a choice to believe while walking through uncertainty. It is a commitment to keep moving forward while the path is still unclear. And the beauty of faith is that it transforms the waiting period itself into preparation. While you are holding on, while you are refusing to quit, while you are continuing in trust, your character is being strengthened, your perspective is being sharpened, and your readiness is being enhanced. Holding on in faith does not make the process shorter or easier, but it ensures that when confirmation comes, you recognize it, embrace it, and maximize it fully. There is a principle in life. The same power that sustains you through the wait also validates your effort when the answer arrives. The trials, the delays, and the questions are not accidents. They are part of a process that transforms ordinary persistence into extraordinary revelation. Unanswered questions test your endurance, your patience, and your belief. They stretch you beyond comfort and force you to rely on a strength you may not have realized you possessed. And it is in that stretching, in that waiting, in that holding on, that confirmation begins to emerge. Sometimes confirmation does not come all at once. Sometimes it arrives gradually through subtle alignment, small victories and moments of clarity that accumulate until the picture becomes undeniable. Other times, it comes suddenly like a breakthrough that changes everything. Regardless of how it arrives, the process of holding on ensures that you are ready to receive it fully. Faith transforms uncertainty into assurance, confusion into clarity, and questions into answers. It allows you to stand firm when the winds of doubt blow, to rise when the obstacles seem insurmountable, and to keep moving when the path is unclear. Holding on in faith also equips you to help others. Your journey of trust becomes a living example, a testimony that encourages, uplifts, and inspires those who are facing their own unanswered questions. People see your perseverance, your refusal to quit, and your unwavering belief, and they are motivated to hold on themselves. Unanswered questions that could have been a source of despair become a platform for hope and testimony because faith refuses to give in to fear. The process of holding on may feel long, arduous, and lonely at times. You may be tempted to measure your worth by immediate results or visible outcomes. But the truth is that faith operates beyond the visible. It is a spiritual muscle that grows stronger in the absence of instant gratification. Every moment you choose to trust rather than doubt, to continue rather than quit, to hope rather than despair, you are building the foundation for confirmation. The unseen work you do in faith becomes the visible evidence of purpose, destiny, and calling. What once was uncertain becomes undeniable. What once was unclear becomes clear. What once was delayed becomes a triumphant arrival. The very questions that seemed unanswered, the very seasons that felt stagnant, the very moments that tested your patience, all of them transform into confirmation because you held on. You refused to quit. You trusted the process. You believed in what could not yet be seen. And holding on in faith is not just about waiting for answers. It is about becoming the kind of person who can fully embrace, steward, and celebrate those answers when they come. Your persistence in faith turns confusion into clarity, doubt into conviction, and waiting into readiness. And through this process, every unanswered question becomes the setup for an undeniable confirmation. Every delay becomes the preparation for your moment, and every challenge becomes the testimony of what holding on can accomplish.